My name is Jake, and I work as a nurse at Maplewood Hospital. Every day brings its own battles, but today feels different. I've been here for nearly 3 years, and I can hardly believe how much I've grown. Yet, a wave of uncertainty washes over me. The hospital is buzzing with activity. Nurses rush by, patients talk nervously, and the sounds of machines beep steadily in the background. The bright lights above shine down, almost too bright for comfort. I take a deep breath, preparing myself for the 14-hour shift ahead. Challenges await, but I hold on to hope. I remind myself why I chose this job: to help others, to be their strength. As I walk, I feel a mix of excitement and anxiety about what is to come. The clock on the wall ticks loudly, reminding me that the shift has just begun. I check the patient list and see that Mrs. Thompson, an elderly woman, is my first assignment. She's known for being a little difficult, and my heart races at the thought of interacting with her. I have taken care of her before, and every time, I felt like I was walking on eggshells. What if she doesn't want to eat today? What if I can't calm her down? I remind myself that I have the skills to handle this, but doubt creeps in. As I walk to her room, I pass Jenna, a seasoned nurse. She smiles at me, but the busy look in her eyes tells me she's got her hands full. "Hey Jake, don't worry too much. Just listen to her, and I'm sure she'll open up," she encourages. It's nice to hear someone believe in me, but I still feel a knot in my stomach. I take one last deep breath before pushing the door to Mrs. Thompson's room. "Hello, Mrs. Thompson. How are you feeling today?" I ask, trying to sound bright and confident. She glares at me from her bed, arms crossed tight. "I don't want to talk to you. Where is my regular nurse? You young ones know nothing." The wave of rejection stings, but I remind myself that I must stay calm. "Mrs. Thompson, I'm here to help you," I reply with my best comforting tone, even as I feel uncertainty bubbling inside me. "I just need to check on your dinner order and see if you need anything." "I don't need anything from you," she snaps back, and I see tears well up in her eyes. My heart sinks. I feel like I'm failing at my job already. The thoughts race through my mind. Maybe I shouldn't have started with her first. Am I really cut out for this? Just then, I hear a soft knock on the door. Mr. Hayes, the charge nurse, peeks in. "How's it going in here, Jake?" he asks, glancing at Mrs. Thompson. "No worries, Mrs. Thompson. You're in good hands. Just be patient, okay?" Mr. Hayes gives me a reassuring look before stepping back out. His presence helps, but I feel the weight of Mrs. Thompson's discontent staring back at me. "Ma'am, if you give me a chance, I promise to do my best," I say, trying to keep my voice steady. "Maybe if I can show her I care, she will let me in." Slowly, her arms relax, but the uncertainty is still present. "I just want some respect," she mutters, looking down at her wrinkled hands. I realize that beneath her tough exterior, there's vulnerability. I reach out a hand, placing it gently on the bed. "You deserve that," I say kindly. For a moment, her expression softens, and I feel a small connection begin to form. Before that moment can settle, I hear the overhead speaker call for my attention. A patient in another room needs immediate care, and I can feel a wave of panic rising in my chest again. How am I supposed to juggle both? The rising pressure makes me question everything about my abilities. I steal a glance at Mrs. Thompson, terrified I'm going to leave her again when she already feels alone. "Hang in there, Mrs. Thompson. I'll be right back, I promise," rushing out of the room. As I hurry down the hallway, my mind spins with doubt. What if I mess up when I'm needed most? Isn't part of being a good nurse knowing how to handle these moments? As I hurry down the hallway, my mind races. I can hear the sound of a patient's alarm beeping in the distance, and the urgency of the situation pulls me into a swirl of emotion. Anxiety knots my stomach. What if I don't get there in time? Feels like I'm losing control over my day. I push open the door to room 210, where an older gentleman is urgently calling for help. "Nurse, I need my medication now." "Right away, sir," I respond, quickly scanning the room. I sift through the clutter of supplies in the small space, desperately searching for the needed meds. The clock on the wall ticks loudly in my ears, making my heartbeat quicken even more. I find the right package, but fumble with it, my hands trembling. This isn't like me. I usually handle urgency well. Why was I feeling so overwhelmed today? Just then, Emily, one of my coworkers, walks in with a look of surprise on her face. "Jake, did you forget to check the chart?" she asks, eyebrows raised in disbelief. Her tone stings, and I feel a wave of frustration rise. I want to snap back at her, to tell her that I'm doing the best I can right now. Instead, I choose to take a deep breath. "I'm on it, Emily. Thanks for coming by." With that, I quickly check the chart attached to the wall. My stomach sinks as I realize I didn't actually double-check the dosage. My hands shake more as I look at the clock again. There's no time for mistakes. My mind spins with doubts. Can I do this? I need to stay calm. Emily steps closer, her expression softening. "Let me help you, Jake. We can do it together," she says, offering her steady hands to guide me in preparing the medication. Somehow, her calm attitude makes me feel a bit more assured. I nod, and we work side by side, organizing the supplies, the urgency slowly subsiding. The pressure feels like it's just beginning to build again, as a loud commotion from the nurse's station catches my attention. I glance over and see panic on Jenna's face as she rushes past, shouting for help. "We need more staff in the ER now. It's chaos up there." My heart drops. The hospital is already short on staff today, and now the emergency room is slammed. I switch my focus back to the patient in front of me, but I can feel the weight of responsibility gripping my chest tightly. What do I do? Stay here or rush to help? The thought makes me even more anxious. I remember why I came into nursing, to stand strong when others needed support. I take a moment to gather my thoughts. The choice is clear. I can't waste time being afraid. If I don't step up now, who will? I look at the gentleman in front of me. He needs me just as much as the patients in the ER. "Sir, I'll be right back with your medication," I promise firmly, already turning to head towards the door. Emily notices my swift movement and nods her approval, saying, "You got this, Jake." Her words become a small anchor of strength. As I stride confidently toward the nursing station, determination rises within me. I focus on channeling the adrenaline coursing through my body. Today might be one of my hardest challenges yet, but it will also be a moment for growth. I'm ready to make a difference, one step at a time. The atmosphere in the hospital feels heavy as I rush to the nurse's station, each step echoing in my mind like thunder. Jenna stands there, surrounded by stress and chaos. "Jake, we're in a serious bind. The ER is overwhelmed. 3 new patients just came in. Plus, we need to check on those who are already here." My heart pounds even harder with her words. I can see other nurses glancing at me, waiting for a sign of what to do next. The emotions wash over me, drowning me in fear and uncertainty. This is a crucial moment. I glance back towards room 210, where the gentleman is resting, still in need of that medication. The urgency hits me like a wave, and I know I need to act fast. "All right, I will help in the ER," I decide, surprising even myself with the confidence in my voice. A calm washes over me as I acknowledge my choice, albeit accompanied by a stir of anxiety in my gut. I remember my training and the calls for help I answered before. It's just a bigger challenge today. As I pivot toward the ER, my mind races through everything that could go wrong. What if I mess up? What if the patients need more than I can give? I force myself to stay focused. Cannot let doubt consume me. This role demands my best, and not just for me, but for every person relying on my care. Entering the ER room feels like stepping into a whirlwind. The chaos overwhelms me. A cacophony of voices, machines beeping, and patients looking up with concern. Nurses scurry about, their faces a mixture of exhaustion and determination. "Jake, we need you to check on patient 2. Jenna's voice raises above everything, and I nod, quickly moving to the bed. The patient there is wheezing, struggling for each breath. I pull out my stethoscope, but as I place it against her chest, worry tightens in my chest. Her condition appears serious, and time feels like it's slipping away. "I need more oxygen in here," I shout, hoping to rally the team. Just then, I glance around and see a new face. Ben, a new nurse fresh out of training. His nervousness radiates through the room. "What do I do?" he stammers, eyes darting. "Stay focused." I respond, my voice sharper than I intended. I realize I'm not just feeling the pressure for myself. I need to guide him through this, too. "Grab the oxygen tank and help me keep her calm. We'll pull through this together." My words break through his fear, and he jumps into action. With Ben beside me, I find a surge of strength. Every ounce of my previous worry falls away as I focus on the patient. Ben's hands move steadily as he sets up the oxygen mask, and I manage to keep the woman calm, speaking softly to her. "You're doing great. Just breathe with me. We're here to make sure you're okay." The shift within me feels profound. I realize this is not just about me or my fears anymore. It's about hope, care, and the power of teamwork. We work together in that moment, and I feel the energy in the room change. My confidence grows, flowing into my movements, and I focus all my energy on her well-being. Then, amid the challenge, some faint light catches my eye. On the bulletin board, a note from a patient saying thank you for the kindness and care they received. It reignites my own purpose, reminding me why I chose this path. I am here to be their strength, no matter the challenge ahead. As I keep my focus on the patient in front of me, my hands work quickly, each movement becoming more fluid. The panic that first gripped me is fading, replaced by a newfound sense of determination. Ben ensures the oxygen is steady, while I maintain a calming presence for the woman. Encouraging her to breathe deeply with me, I can finally feel the tension in the room shift. "That's it. Just keep breathing," I repeat, my voice steadying. In a whirl of activity, everyone around us works together. The nurses pass supplies briskly, and the doctors rush in to assess the situation. I notice Jenna watching from the corner with a look of approval on her face. For the first time today, I feel a spark of pride ignite within me. My earlier doubts seem far away, replaced with the warmth of teamwork and shared purpose. As the oxygen begins to help the patient breathe easier, I find some relief. The monitor shows her stats stabilizing, and in that moment, the weight of responsibility begins to lift. Around me, there's an aura of respect, with the team working seamlessly as one. I glance at Ben, who's now showing undeniable confidence as he runs to fetch other supplies. His initial nerves transformed into a productive energy. "Good job, Jake," Jenna calls out, nudging my shoulder gently as she passes. That simple encouragement washes over me like a much-needed balm. I had struggled, but now I was not alone. I was part of something bigger. The warmth in my chest spreads outwards, reminding me of why I chose nursing in the first place. As we all focus on the critical care before us, I realize that my earlier anxiety did not have to define me. I understand that the fluctuations of fear and self-doubt are part of the journey, but what truly matters is how I respond to those moments. I breathe in deeply, cherishing that recognition. However, my revelation is cut short when another alarm sounds from a different bedside. I turn to find a patient going into distress. The rush of cold fear fills me once again. This isn't over yet. My heart races, and adrenaline pumps inside me quickly, a reminder of how fragile life can be. "We need more hands in here." Call. Almost instantly, several nurses gather, and I notice Ben shoot me an impressed glance. In the whirlwind of the action, the previous doubts that held me hostage now feel like shadows retreating. "Let's stay together," I shout, firm and loud enough to slice through the rising chorus of stress filling the room. Collaborating with the others, I direct responsibilities confidently. "Laura, take her vitals. Jenna, get the doctor. Emily, assist me here. We can handle this." The teamwork is exceptional. One by one, each professional responds as if they know the rhythm of our shared pulse, and we fall into a cohesive system. I feel myself stepping up to my potential, drawing from the strength of my teammates. The earlier pressure transforms into a passionate fire that drives us all to perform better than I thought possible. Finally, as the storm of chaos ebbs and flows, I learn that I am not just a nurse working alone. I am part of an unwavering team. That note of gratitude I saw earlier now comes rushing back into my mind. I didn't just make a choice. I made a difference. In that moment, the respect I have for my role grows, and I understand that embracing fear is integral to succeeding. I can rise to challenges, particularly when I lean on those around me. The rush of teamwork fuels my spirit as we move forward. After the whirlwind of the ER subsided, I found a quiet moment sitting in the staff break room, reflecting on the intense experience. My heart rate had slowed, but feelings of adrenaline and accomplishment surged through me. The memories of the chaos replayed in my mind. Patients needing help, teamwork in action, and the proud feeling of contributing meaningfully. Ben entered the break room, his face still flushed from the busyness, but there was a bright spark in his eyes. "Jake, I can't believe how we handled that together," he exclaimed, plopping down on a chair beside me. I chuckled softly, feeling the warmth of shared triumph in his words. "Yeah, it really turned out well," I replied, a smile breaking across my face. "I was terrified at first, but then working with all of you, it just clicked." Ben leaned forward, eager to know my thoughts. "How did you stay calm?" I felt like my mind was running wild. I thought for a moment, remembering the struggle I had faced earlier in the day. Honestly, it was hard at first, but when the pressure hit, I kept reminding myself why I'm here. I focused on the patients, on what they needed, then it just became about helping them. His eyes lit up with understanding. "So you really shifted your focus from yourself to the work? That makes sense." "Exactly." I nodded, reflecting further. I learned that with nursing, it's not just about our knowledge. It's about compassion. It's about being there for others even when times are tough. Today taught me I can step up. With all of us working as a team, we can really make a difference. Just then, Jenna peeked in, her presence robust with confidence. "You two talking about the excitement in the ER?" she asked, side-eyeing us with an impressed smile. "You both did great work today." "Thanks, Jenna," I said with gratitude. "I really didn't think I could handle that situation." She shook her head. "Nursing is full of unpredictable moments. What matters is how you adapt." You both rose to the occasion. "I could see the transformation in you, Jake. You showed leadership." Surprise washed over me. Leadership? I never considered myself to hold such a quality. "I just did what felt right," I admitted, slightly bashful. "That's how true leaders emerge," Jenna replied knowingly. "They don't always have big titles. They inspire others simply by being present and dedicated." As I listened to her, I began to grasp the larger lesson. It wasn't just about individual achievements. It was about being part of a supportive environment that fosters growth. I realized that as challenging as the job can be, the nursing community creates bonds that strengthen each member. In that conversation, a surge of confidence settled deep within me. I recognized my initial fear is something every nurse feels. What matters is how we learn to navigate through it together. "Thank you for always being there, Jenna," I said, meaning every word. With each shared story, my perspective shifted even further. I started understanding that every patient we care for shapes not just their path but ours too. Each experience prepares us for the next. As I took a sip of my lukewarm coffee, the bitterness turned sweet in my mouth, fueled by the hope of what lies ahead. Today was not just about survival, it was a reminder of purpose. I was learning, growing, and becoming the nurse I always wanted to be. The following days at Maplewood Hospital felt different as I transitioned back into my regular routine. Each morning, I arrived with a fresh sense of purpose and determination. The chaos of that intense shift in the ER replayed in my mind, but instead of fear, it reshaped my approach to work. I felt more confident, like I had stepped into my own skin for the first time. As I walked through the familiar halls dotted with bright patient rooms, my eyes focused on every detail. I noticed how the nurses interacted with their patients. My willingness to engage was more open. When I entered a room, a warm smile spread across my face. "Hello there, Mr. Jenkins. How are you feeling today?" I asked him one morning. Instead of just doing my tasks, I wanted to connect, to truly be present. The doctors and my coworkers began noticing the change in me, too. "You seem more in your element lately, Jake," Emily commented during a lunch break. What's your secret? I laughed, feeling a surge of pride at her observation. I think I've just realized how much we all need each other in this job. We're stronger together? I replied, a new sense of confidence shining through my words. I even tried out new approaches to care. While preparing medications for patients, I began to take extra moments to chat, asking them about their interests or favorite things. Did you tell me before how much you enjoy gardening? I asked Mrs. Rivera during one of my visits. Her face lit up, drawing out her enthusiasm as she shared tips on growing tomatoes. It felt rewarding to connect on a level beyond the usual nurse-patient conversation. This shift in mentality not only brightened their spirits but lifted mine too. Even in challenging moments, I felt equipped to handle the unexpected. One day, a crisis arose when a patient suddenly changed conditions. Instead of freezing with fear, I recalled that wave of shared responsibility from the ER. Let's all work together, I shouted to the nurses in the room, invoking that earlier feeling of strength and solidarity. With everyone in action, we worked to stabilize the patient, and I took charge of coordinating communications. My heart raced, but there was a newfound calmness within me. Afterward, Jenna approached me with a warm smile. You handled that like a pro, Jake. I saw your leadership shine through, she said, and I felt a strong sense of validation. It was reassuring to know that the alterations in my mindset were not just internal but visible to others. In quiet moments during my shifts, I took time to reflect on what it means to be a nurse. I wrote in my journal, detailing my experiences, feelings, and the lessons I learned. Each entry reinforced the idea that compassionate care matters immensely, not just for patients but for myself and my coworkers too. The subtle changes prompted me to forge connections. Today, I took the time to check in on Mrs. Thompson, the difficult patient I had known before. She surprised me with a soft smile, and I sensed we were beginning to build trust. Thank you for coming by, Jake. It means a lot, she murmured. Hearing those words warmed my heart and confirmed the progress I yearned for. The new mindset I adopted extended beyond the job. It started influencing my personal life as well. I found myself more open to family and friends, sharing my thoughts and feelings. Gone were the walls I used to keep up around my struggles and successes. I embraced vulnerability as a strength, learning the profound impact it had on my relationships. Now, as I walked those hallways, I held my head a little higher and took each day with patience and curiosity. I was ready for whatever the next shift might bring, confident that every challenge was an opportunity to grow. In embracing teamwork, compassion, and shared experiences, my journey in nursing blossomed with purpose and hope. As I settled into my routine at Maplewood Hospital, I felt altogether different, like a seed sprouting after a long winter. My confidence had blossomed into a bright flower. Each new shift presented a chance to apply what I had learned during my last chaotic experience, and I no longer faced challenges with the weight of doubt, but with encouragement and hope. On a recent afternoon, while preparing for my day, I checked the patient list. I noticed a name I recognized, Mrs. Thompson. I smiled to myself, recalling how our interactions had grown into something meaningful. I took a moment to remind myself of the journey I had taken to reach this point. I wasn't perfect, but I felt far more capable than I had just a few weeks earlier. When I walked into her room, a wave of warmth washed over me. Good afternoon, Mrs. Thompson. How are you feeling today? I greeted her, a genuine smile stretching across my face. She looked up from her crossword puzzle, her expression brightening as she sat tall. Much better today, thank you. It's good to see you again, Jake, she replied, and I sensed a bond forming. This connection felt like a victory, more important than any medical achievement. As the day progressed, the hospital buzzed with activity. Each patient I encountered felt like another chance to grow and learn. I approached Mr. Jenkins, an older gentleman who had expressed frustration during previous visits. Today, instead of just jumping into tasks, I engaged with him first. Mr. Jenkins, I heard you like to travel. Tell me about your favorite places. His eyes sparkled as he shared tales from his younger days. Listening to him not only fostered my connection with him, but also showed me the power of simply being present. Suddenly, I was called over to assist in another room where a patient needed care. My heart raced at the sight of bustling staff, but rather than feeling lost in the noise, I entered calmly and took a deep breath. "Let's coordinate," I said to the others, echoing the confidence I had adopted in the ER. We worked seamlessly together, attending to the patient's needs and keeping the energy focused yet gentle. Throughout the shift, a sense of unity wrapped around us like a comforting blanket. I often spotted Ben nearby, tackling tasks with a composed demeanor. Occasionally, we exchanged subtle nods of encouragement, recognizing the growth we shared since that busy day. It was fulfilling to see how my improved mindset motivated others, too. In quiet moments, I often reflected on what I had learned during the challenges I faced. Every setback became a stepping stone for growth. Every victory built my confidence stronger. Pushing through moments of uncertainty opened me to a supportive nursing community, and I cherished the lessons our experiences provided. By the end of my shift, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. My worries hadn't vanished entirely, of course. This was nursing after all. But the familiar tension I once felt had transformed into a steady resolve. This job would always hold its challenges, but rather than seeing them as insurmountable, I now viewed them as chances to connect, learn, and grow. As I gathered my things at the end of the day, I caught sight of the thank you note on the bulletin board again. It struck me how far I had come. I realized the note wasn't just a reminder of success. It was an invitation to keep pushing forward, reaching out in kindness, and embracing collaboration. With every patient I care for, I will continue to grow. I will welcome challenges with optimism, knowing that every effort matters. Leaving the hospital that evening, I held my head a bit higher and took a deep breath, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. The journey of growth and discovery was far from over. It was just beginning.